Hi, everybody. It's Mark Arnstein, Remax Hallmark, and of course, livingnorthtoronto.com. This is the Mark Arnstein Show, podcast number 16. And today we're actually live on location at the Skating Lab in North Toronto. We're going to go live instead of being in the studio today. And I'm really excited to have our featured guest on today, Mr. Jeff Potter of the Skating Lab. So just to give you a brief background about where we are today. So in the late summer of 2015, Jeff Stairs saw the value in the Skating Lab by how much it helped improve his son's confidence and performance on the ice. Jeff Potter, owner and operator of the Pro Skate Corner, a long-standing stakeholder in the business, met Stairs and quickly formed a dynamic business relationship that allowed them to take over the Skating Lab by late 2015. Together, Potter and Stairs, or the Jeff Squared combination, their individual talents and passions for hockey industry to come to provide high-quality products and services to players all over the GTA and beyond. Jeff is no stranger to the hockey industry in the Greater Toronto area. Not only is Jeff an expert skate sharpener and hockey equipment consultant for both individuals and teams, I can attest this because he sharpens my kids' skates all the time. He serves on the board of directors for the Stop Concussion Foundation and is a voting member of the Canadian Standards and Association. In addition to being a part owner of the Skating Lab, Jeff continues to develop the Pro Skate Corner, his hockey skate maintenance business, and that operates on premise. So we are at 3984 Chestwood Drive, Skating Lab. So please welcome to the show, Mr. Jeff Potter.
Hey,
Jeff,
Mark.
thank you for being here today.
Oh, I have to be here, but thank you for being here today. Much appreciated.
My pleasure. It's great. It's actually fun to be live on location for once and actually get to talk to someone standing next to me as opposed to over a computer screen because it changes the dynamic of the conversation.
Absolutely,
so this is
100%.
great.
Your podcast is really good. I've watched a few of the episodes. It's great. And
thank you.
Really informative of the subjects that you look after. And I appreciate you coming today. Much appreciated.
No, my pleasure. So we've known each other for, I would say, probably about 5 years now, 5, 6 years. I remember when Ryan came, my oldest son, and started on the treadmill and he just skyrocketed, right? Like he got that opportunity when he was a bit of a late bloomer. And he got the opportunity to, get into select, a bit behind the 8 ball, so to speak. Came here, he was so gung-ho, worked on his stride, got in with the instructors, and it just elevated his game that much more. And then before we knew it, you've seen him play, he was playing double A and really on the verge of going triple A. The facility here has done so much wonders for him and a gazillion other individuals, obviously, that play hockey in the GTA.
Well, we do our best to, what we try to do is just make sure that they have the best tools that they can possibly have. There's some great on-ice and skating instructors, and you absolutely have to have on-ice skating instructors. We work, in my opinion, with some of the best with Barb Underhill and Don Braid and Randy Milani and the Leaf skating coach now, and working along with some of those people. Lauren Malott is another one that we worked with a lot this summer, and they all have great outlooks on different aspects of the on-ice stuff, but the foundation has to be good. And
right.
What we do here is we'll look at the skate fit, we'll look at the profile of the blade, we'll look at all kinds of different aspects. The guys will break down the stride on the treadmill in slow motion.
Right.
And when you do that, you can actually see where their deficiencies are really exaggerated so that when they get to that on-ice coach, they can say, well, I worked on this week. And, so if we can take that and go with it, it just makes it a lot easier for the on-ice instructor.
Right. And so give me you meet Stairs, right?
Yep.
And now he was already operating the facility or?
No, I had another long-time friend, Dr. Kelly Lockwood. She's the head of kinesiology at Brock University. And she had owned and operated this location and another one in Burlington since 2006.
Right.
And we've become long friends, being on the CSA board and stuff like that. So she had spoke at different events that I'd been at. So we became longtime friends, and when Canadian Tire took over National Sports, they kind of said, "Well, thanks, but we don't need you anymore.
Right.
We'll just hire somebody else to come fix machines," which is kind of thing I did for skate sharpening and all that kind of stuff and teaching. We'll just put everything online. So that's what they did, and then basically ended up closing down National Sports. So I guess it was good I got out. But Kelly came and said, "Well, why don't you come to the Skating Lab and sharpen skates for me?" I said, well, it's not that busy. And she's like, well, it can be. I mean, maybe you could grow the business. So we actually grew the business really quick, really fast. And within a year, Kelly was like, you know what, things are going really well. Why don't you buy the business?
Right.
I'm looking at, tuning down. I only want to run Burlington. And then that started. And then So in 2014, I was looking for some money to help purchase the place, and Jeff happened to come in. He goes, I really like this place. This is awesome. My son, Justin, has done really well. In fact, Justin just graduated from university this year, and he's done really well. He's playing at a college down in the States. And, he's just like, oh, this is great. I want to help you out. So he did. He said, here's some money. Let's go together. Let's make this happen. And what we had before was plain white nothing. And Jeff owns carwraps.ca and Southwood Graphics. And he came up with this great idea of putting a wall out like this. And, the screen up here that, you can watch the game and actually the highlights. It looks like you're watching the game at the rink. And did all the other stuff with the shop, and he just said, okay, you go with it, and just use the foundation of what Kelly had come up with, which was proven and tried and true, and we did that. And then our trainers are great, and they're both kinesiology majors, and one's got a master's, and he's come up with some other programs that we've tried, and just kind of growing everything that Kelly's had, made it even better. We keep with her, tried true methods, and then we've expanded into skate fitting, which is my expertise. And so I've taught my guys what to look for. And then, so they're looking for stuff. And we got a couple local stores, Major Hockey and Just Hockey, that really help out a lot. We'll send a customer down there saying, hey, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're trying to get them to do. The skate's not quite working the way it should.
Right.
And Dave Beaton at Just Hockey and Joel Major at Major Hockey, they're phenomenal at getting our customers the skates that they need. It's been a little bit of a shortage these days with the supply chain, so it's been a little bit hard. But and then we just do that for them, and they help us by sending us some customers. And in exchange, we help out with the community. Like you can see here, we've got a bunch of skates. This is for Akeem Alou and the Hockey Diversity Alliance and his group. We just finished doing another 200 pairs of skates for Seaside Hockey, which is a Scarborough-based diversity program, and we also work with the Hockey Quality Program with Anthony Stewart. So, we work with all three programs in the GTA, helping all these kids. We've done somewhere around 400 pairs of skates in the last 2 weeks.
Oh my God!
For the group, so all these kids can get on the ice and that have never had a chance to play, that maybe don't have the opportunity and don't have the funds, and these guys are helping out, and we're helping them out by doing their skates for them.
It's awesome because as being a hockey parent and twice over, right? They got to do it for two kids, not just one. It's a friggin' expensive sport. It's like there's no doubt about it, especially when they get into the higher level. And they kick into those adult skates, and the price just goes up by another $400 for the skates. And so the fact that you're doing this to allow younger kids to get into the program, or even whatever age groups they are, is just so cool and so awesome. Let's go back to the treadmill. Let's go take a look back there, and I want to just show everybody kind of what's going on back here. So there's two entrances into the skating lab. There's a backside entrance, and there's the other entrance here that's closer to Chestwood Arena. But this we're about to show you right here is the actual treadmill itself. So if we come on up.
This is our skating treadmill. It's a Woodway treadmill. It's been around since the 90s. In fact, there's a gentleman that owns a gym across the parking lot. He used to work with one of the Leaf trainers, and the Leafs had one of these back in the 90s.
Right.
Mr. Broadhurst, I believe is his name. And he had one downtown, and they used to rehab the Leaf players on the treadmill. They were actually thinking of putting one at when Barb was the trainer for the Leafs, just not enough space, time, and all that kind of stuff. And they actually had enough ice that they didn't have to worry about it. But then when COVID hit, it might not have been a bad idea because it was a little harder to get too many guys on the ice, where this you can have one guy on and train one guy at a time.
Right.
So we obviously see here they have the mirror, so the guys can see themselves when they're training, see where they're making mistakes, and the coaches can correct it by showing them what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Maybe if we're showing a different drill, we can go from one drill to the next, and then we have our great little shooting gallery that we can lower down here. The
shooter tutor.
The shooter tutor.
Love the shooter tutor.
Our sports screen shooter tutor.
Yeah.
So that can drop down on top of it as well, and then the kids can shoot into that. And as you can see, we've got a couple of rips and tears in this one here, and looks like it might be time for a new sports screen. I'll have to give those guys a call.
Yeah, it's time for the upgrade.
Sports screen, need a new one.
Sports screen, if you're watching and you hear Jeff just mention that, we're getting for sponsorship here, so please, you could use a new one. Okay, so
these are actually, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea because these things are amazing. Like we have so many people shooting on this, whereas you may just have your guys at home. This goes right in front of a garage door, slides down, protects your garage door.
Right.
And what we did was we just put some reinforcements behind it because, some of our kids, we get some junior kids that come in and actually there's a couple that actually made the NHL now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. One guy in Vegas that now, and we got one guy in the New York Islanders that Del Cole.
Right.
He used to skate here all the time.
Wow. So now, just for people watching this, it doesn't matter level, age. This is good for anybody.
It is to a degree. I mean, what we need to have the child or adult have some skating experience.
Right.
Because if you have no skating experience, it's very difficult to learn because it does move and you need to have some kind of understanding of balance.
Right.
If they have some experience, a year of, so for the younger kids, a year of experience on ice, it's the best. If you have that year of experience, that works really, really well because you can hold on to the bar.
Right.
You are held up by
a harness.
I'll bring this around. You are hold up by a harness that attaches to this tether, and this tether keeps you from falling on the ground. Right. And so we've never had anybody have any issues with that. Our tethers have always worked. We've never had any problems. We've actually had an industrial engineer come in. I know some of the other places that have treadmills are open in the back. Right. Our industrial engineer came in and made sure that this goes back, and even if you did fall, we actually had one person try it. They bounced off here and went right onto the back. Right. So if anything ever did break, we wouldn't have to worry about it because they would just fly off the back. Where some of them are open, and if it was open, you would fall down the back and it would just keep dragging you around, which wouldn't be good. No. So our engineer was awesome, built this whole thing for us, and it's been amazing and worked really, really well. And Stuart's awesome. He actually, came in and did some soundproofing as well. So we got soundproofed, and it's quieter than it needs to be, and then it's great for that. And then with training, it's like I said, we had all of our instructors are kinesiologists. Right. So they all have a kinesiology degree. They all understand the bending of this and the flexing of that, and what needs to be where, and all that kind of stuff. And if there's an injury, that they can work with a person with an injury as well. We got our guest trainer coming in this weekend, next weekend, Danielle M. She's actually on Team Japan. Oh, okay. So she trained here for a little bit, but she's actually coming back next weekend to do some training herself. She'll be in tonight getting trained, and then she'll be in next week doing some training. So cool. Getting set up for it's the World Championships. Right. So she's from Toronto. I believe she's going to U of T. I believe she's studying to be a doctor, and now she's off to playing for Team Japan. Nice. Yeah. All right, let's go talk about True Skates, because you're one of the biggest suppliers or fitters for True, right? That's correct. Well, what it is True has obviously now a stock line of skates. So we have a couple of stock pairs up here that are left. These are our pro returns and some of our return skates where customers have outgrown their skates. Like this would be a stock skate. Right. This is called a TF9. That would be a stock skate. The new version is called the Catalyst. These are just some of the ones that where people have outworn the skate or whatever and outgrown the skate and bought a new pair. And so we either use them for the treadmill, or if somebody wants an older pair of skates, we can, because they're carbon fiber, we can refit them. Right. But back to your point, yes, I am one of the oldest distributors of the full custom skates. Yeah, but wait, hold on. So just for clarification purposes, what's the difference between a stock and a Catalyst? Okay. So this stock skate just for here, the people watching at home that don't necessarily know that much. This stock skate here is just one shape. This is a pre-made shell. Right. So there's no changes that can be made to the shell. When it molds, it's only the interior liner that molds. Right. It's not this exterior. Most manufacturers will explain that when they're molding a skate, they can't really mold the exterior of the skate because it's just not moldable. Most of them. Some of them say they can, but realistically, they're the same as this. They're a shell. Right. You really can't mold a shell. It's pretty much done. You can punch it out a little bit, but sometimes the integrity is not the same. Whereas this is a full carbon boot, full carbon fiber. Once this gets soft from heating, which is about 10 to 12 minutes, you can literally, if you have a bump on your foot, it will actually go around that bump on your foot. And it's the only skate on the market that literally will mold to your foot. I've been doing them for about 7 years. I've done about 1,500 pairs, which happens to be the most of any single small store in the world.
Right.
So I've sold more than anybody else in the world. That it was kind of cool, but now they're, unfortunately, because of the chains, they're catching up. So the chain stores, well, we sold 1,400. I'm like, well, it's still not 1,500. So I'm roughly about 1,500. I've got 9 guys from the Hall of Fame, including Pavel Bure,
Russian Rocket.
Yes, the Russian Rocket. Trying to remember some of the other Scott Stevens. There's a whole bunch of guys that wear the skates now. Joe Neuendijk. There's just a bunch of guys that wear the skate now that I've fitted that wear them. And they just say that they're more. Rick Vive would be the Toronto Maple Leaf that he's been in it the longest. He's on his, I think, 2nd or 3rd pair. And he won't wear anything else. And he actually plays. It's kind of funny. He actually says he makes more money now than he did when he was playing. Because he does all the alumni games. So they get paid to do the alumni games and stuff. And he's like, if you compare the salary from back then to now, he's actually making more money now.
That's
for fun.
For fun. That's pretty good gig. Now, the other thing you've done now is that's the original sharpener over here.
So we have
and now you got the new ones, right?
Yeah. So we have our original, and this is one of the better skate sharpeners on the market. There's Blackstone and Blademaster are the 2 best in my opinion. This one I really liked because it's easier to teach because you can change the diamond and the dressing here. And it's easier to teach to dress the wheel. Dressing a wheel, usually with the Blademaster, you have to go up and down. And it's hard to teach that sometimes for some people that are not going to do a lot of sharpening. So this is just a lot easier when I'm teaching to teach people, which I've done a lot. I've taught about 750 people at national sports how to sharpen skates. And 3 of them are now in the NHL, or not in the NHL, but in the pros. I have 1 that's in the AHL, Steph Klein. She's the first female to be in the NHL. She did a game for Toronto this year, I believe, was her first game. She's the lead equipment manager for women in the world.
Wow.
And I call a dear friend, and she's an awesome young lady, and she actually just got engaged. So congratulations, Steph.
Steph, if you're watching, congratulations.
Her and Miss Carpenter. Her and Miss Carpenter getting married, I believe, next summer. And best of luck to them. I wish them best luck. But she's the first female equipment manager in professional hockey. She did a game last year in Russia. On the men's team. The gentleman that was the trainer got sick with COVID, and the guys loved her anyway. She's a phenomenal skate sharpener. So, but now she has the new equipment, and I'd already heard about it. And so what we did was we went and purchased. We were the first one in Toronto, the second in Ontario to get the new elite skate sharpening equipment.
Ooh, I get to come back behind here?
Yes.
This is the first time I've ever been allowed back behind the counter. So this is very exciting for me because I'm usually here at least once a week bringing my kids' skates in. So
so this is our new machine, and this is actually so easy to use that you can literally just put the skate in, and all you do is you just look to see where the center of the blade is. Lock it in. You move this device back so it locks both skates in the exact same position.
Oh, so you can do both skates at the same time.
So I can do both skates at the same time, and it takes approximately, it's a little loud, so I won't turn it on right this second. It takes approximately 2 minutes. What I will do, actually, I'll do it 2 passes. These are some of the skates, again, for the HDA from CCM. Thank you, CCM.
Gotta get those plugs in, right?
I've been working with Akimalu, part of the HDA, since he was 15 years old. So I know all about the issues that he's dealt with since he was a young man, and definitely been behind the programs in general since the 90s. So 1 second while this goes. So this is just a finishing pass. It's not the actual full sharpening. But it's self-contained, has a really nice exhaust system down here. And that's it. So, I mean, it's not super sharp. It definitely needs a couple more passes, but it actually sharpens really well on very, very little. Like that, if you look at the finish, which I could probably go a little bit closer, the finish on that on one pass on a brand new skate is incredible.
Right.
The only issue that they've had is that this skate needs to now be deburred. The typical way of doing that is to stone a skate using a honing stone. But it's still, if we did 4 or 5 passes, it still has quite a bit of burr on it.
Right.
I recently came in touch with a gentleman, Bill Schaefer and Lucas Schaefer out of Pittsburgh. They came up with this machine back in 2017. And in 2017, they lent it to the Pittsburgh Penguins. This has a brush with diamond bristles on it.
Right.
The bristles have diamonds attached to them. He owns the rights to the bristle brush. And what this does is it spins and turns and spins and turns, and it polishes the bottom of the blade.
Right.
They did 2 studies, and the studies prove that it gives 30% more glide.
Oh.
So now, again, it still has, the machine does kick up a fair bit of burr, but wiping it off, it's now nice and smooth with next to no burr whatsoever. A little bit of burr at the toe and the heel, which again, we can now then take a stone, get rid of the excess burr, and voila. Now basically nothing there on a brand new skate with a perfectly smooth finish.
And then with this machine, because there's different types of sharpening, you can use regular, half inch.
The different hollows. Yeah. So the different hollows, you can do all kinds of different hollows. The discs that they have that you use on them are these here. Thing is, they're not cheap. They're expensive. So I basically picked the regular hollows that most of my clients use. If I have to do a different hollow or say a flat bottom V, I've maintained another machine that has all of those capabilities.
Right.
So I can do all of that as well as this machine as well. This is our go-to machine though. Right now, Colorado.
Yeah.
Used this last year, won the Stanley Cup. Montreal Canadiens have been using it for about 5 or 6 years, so any of the Canadian fans. And the Leafs bought it last year.
Right.
They actually bought 2 of these as well. And working with Bobby Hastings, he was able to do, normally they do 300 pairs of blades, and they had them, takes them about 4 or 5 days.
Right.
They did them in 16 hours.
Wow.
So it saved them 3 days of sharpening.
Right.
Using this machine back here as well, and this machine. So I actually have exactly the same thing the Leafs have, the Colorado Avalanche have, and the Montreal Canadiens. This here this can do 4 blades at once. I've been working with Jeff Skinner since he was 16 years old.
Yeah.
So I've been doing his profile. I have his profile bar here. I mount the 4 blades in there. I basically sit like this, close the door now, turn the machine on, turn the grinder on, and it grinds his blades.
Right.
It takes about 8 minutes to do 4 blades.
Wow.
It used to take me 2 to 3 days to do his 12 sets of blades that he needs for the season.
Right.
So now it took me to do half of his stuff ready for this season. It took me 20 minutes.
Right.
So it's all done. And so Jeff, you can come pick up your blades. Those are actually done. I didn't actually turn it on to redo those ones. Those are all ready to go. So he'll be driving up probably this weekend or next weekend and picking them up.
Right. Now, let's be clear. So for the average hockey player, right? The house league player, the select player, the A, double, triple A, open to everybody coming in and getting this, and the price is not outrageous or anything like that.
No, actually, to be honest, I was looking online and there's a lot of people that charge a lot more than me. Yeah. And they have half the equipment, or they may have their new guy doing it. Profiling a pair of skates is not an easy thing. Right. To get it right, and I've been doing it for 35 years. I worked at great stores like Just Hockey and Rod that taught me how to sharpen, and Bob Allen from Maximum Edge, and who's the same guy that teaches the guys in the NHL, and Wally Tadamir, God bless Wally. Sorry, Wally passed away recently, and he was one of my mentors in sharpening. And between Wally and Bob Allen and Rod and stuff like that, it took me a long time, but it paid off, because I was just in a store one day, and the CEO of National Sports came in and said, "Hey, I know who you are. Would you like to come work for us?" So he'd been gotten the sharpening done by me. He'd heard about me, and they hired me. And that's how I got onto National Sports in the first place. So going from, I really appreciate what Rod did for me back in the day, but to be able to move on and teach all those people how to sharpen was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. We're looking at expanding to
south of the 401. The reason why I say south of the 401, and Jeff, we talk about this all the time, is there's literally between here and just hockey down in Don Mills in Eglinton, there's nothing in between that can do like a decent job of sharpening skates. It's crazy.
I'm not going to say anything about that, because there are definitely stores in between. But what we are going to do for you, we are going to do this.
Okay.
We're going to have a drop box at the front. So if you come to Scotiabank, or you go to Chesswood, or you go to rinks up the street, you're going to be able to come by and drop off your blades and pick them up the next day. Or if you have an Uber account and you want to send an Uber to pick them up, by all means. So we'll be able to do that for you. Same service, same sharpening, same quality, and faster and easier time.
So, sorry, we never got back to it, but what are we charging for just a standard sharpening?
Standard sharpening is $10 right now.
Yeah. And then you can buy a
sharpening pass.
Right? Which gives you a bit of a discount.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a discount. I mean, obviously, with the newer equipment, I could have bought a new car, but I decided to invest in the business instead. And so, this is what we're using now. And again, like I said, there are guys that charge more. Hockey's really expensive. I'm doing this with the HDA because hockey is really expensive. You can buy a skate like this one up here, and this one here now is the lesser expensive version of the Custom True Catalyst Pro, and that's $11.99. Their full custom version is $14.99. That's expensive. And so trying to give back to the community, trying to make it easier on people. I could charge $15 to cover all my costs on the new machinery and stuff, but me personally, I just want to keep it reasonable for everybody. My profile charge is $40. I know people charge $50, but when the music plays, you got you gotta go.
You gotta go. Okay, so before we end, I think, and I listen. Like I said before, I have two kids, pairs of skates I bring here on a regular basis. He does do the best job of anyone in the city, hands down, absolutely 100%. But you also have a lot of connections and stories with the guys in the pros. So I know we're getting a little long, so just give me one really kind of cool, fun, crazy story that's happened.
Ooh, geez.
Come on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot.
So many. I think the funnest story of all of them would be that I had a gentleman that runs a gym in Oakville called BTNL, Dan Ninkovich. I think is that how I pronounce his name. Dan's an awesome guy. And I had already been working with another gentleman in the city where my son was going skating. Not realizing that the lady that was teaching the skating was, until after the second or third skate, was Jack Hughes' mom. So long story short is I was working with Barb Underhill with her players. She's like, oh, I work with this other lady. Her husband is the director of player personnel for the Leafs. That was her husband. So Dan says we should get Jeff to go to a little thing with a bunch of kids in Oakville. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll show up. Little did I know that the gentleman that was running the skate was Pat Brisson, who now is the #1 agent in hockey for salaries. I think he just was just talking to somebody this morning. He just capped $1 billion in salaries.
Wow.
So I've actually worked with Jack, Luke, Quinn, all of the CEA guys for the last 8 years. And actually that skate up there is Jack Hughes' skate from when he was 12.
Oh, no, the one on the left or on the right?
Yeah, the CCM, the blue one there, that's Jack's skate from when he was 12. The other skate over there is Sam Gagne, and I've been doing his skates forever, every summer. since he was graduated from the Marlies, and that skate is actually from the game where he tied Wayne Gretzky's record. And I put those skates together. He ordered the boots. I put the holders on for them and mounted them because he has an alignment issue. And that skate actually, he wore in the game and he signed it, autographed it, and he wore it for the entire season. It's the only time he's ever worn one pair in the entire season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Jeff, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. This has been awesome. Like, it's such a great little facility. Again, just reminding everybody, you guys are located at
3984 Chestwood Drive.
Right. So literally across from Chestwood Arena.
Yep.
And hours typically of operation are
12 to 8 Monday through Thursday. 12 to 9 Monday through Thursday. 12 to 8 on Friday, unless it's a tournament weekend. And then we'll extend the hours either earlier or later, whatever it need be. And then 9 to 3 on the weekends.
Right.
Saturday and Sunday, except for holidays. Tournament weekends, again, we will extend if need be. But we look forward to having, explaining whatever we can about profile or sharpening or whatever we need to be for the teams. I think the biggest thing is getting on the treadmill, figuring out what skate fits you the best.
Yeah.
And then once you've got that all dialed in, you go to your store, pick up your skate, come back here. We can dial everything in, all the profile sharpening, and get you, on the road to getting to that next level.
Sweet, awesome. And again, if you want to follow along on social, on Instagram, it's at the Skating Lab Toronto for social on Instagram, right?
Yep, that and Pro Skate Corner.
There you go, Pro Skate Corner. Perfect. Thank you so much again, buddy. I really appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Mark, appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and look forward to speaking again next time. Take care. Bye.